All right, everybody, welcome to the HireMyVA Team and Business Building Podcast, where we help you to reclaim your freedom through hiring and thriving with virtual assistants without breaking the bank, and that's without breaking your bank.
Yep.
And I'm Dave Braun, and I'm here with my partner, business mentor, coach. More importantly, though, the very most important and best thing is Larry Braun's my great friend. Larry,
Yes.
I'm so glad you're my friend. Thank you for that. And how are you doing today?
I am very well, handsome Dave. Thank you for being in my life too. It's awesome to be on this journey together. You know, I wish I would have understood the power of deep and meaningful friendships
years ago.
X number of decades ago. I was going to actually name a number, but
yeah.
You know, I think that having someone in your life who you can trust, who's been through the battles with you, you know, through the good and the bad, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. I mean, and I think particularly, well, maybe that's a sexist thing to say, but my sense is I think particularly for men who tend to go on the journey alone,
we're loners,
you don't realize how powerful it is until you have it, you know? So I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you to you and Cheryl for putting up with me. And
yeah, it's exhausting. Somebody's got
I know. I've got enough people in my life who tell me I'm exhausting. You don't need to remind me.
Yeah, and me too. I'm sure I'm tiring for you. That's for sure. All right. Well, enough about us and the love fest here. Let's.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, Dave. You know, we started something a couple of podcasts ago that I'm feeling like we ought to try to continue this, and that is. It's just been kind of inadvertent, but we've shared a couple of ahas or victories that we've done in the past. And I see that you must know where we're going with this. So have you had an aha recently that you might want to share with us? So while you're looking at that, for those who don't know, Dave and I do coaching and mentoring as well. And we run masterminds. And oftentimes, even if we're doing an online teaching or coaching program that's more than one or two sessions, we usually stop and say, you know, what aha did you have? It's like, aha, like a moment of clarity, a moment of brilliance may have come to you, because we're big believers that we don't pause long enough in our lives to say, what lessons have I learned during this little interaction that I just had? And so part of our morning routines is the morning flashpoints for achievers book, where we have reflections and intentions. And basically reflections are moments for ahas. What am I thinking about? What's come to me? So what aha have you had? Have you found one that you want to share?
I'm going to go, man, I have a bunch of them, but
I know you do.
I'm going to go back to one that I wrote a long time ago in the Wisdom Journal book that we have.
Yes.
I wrote down the statement: vulnerability, when authentic, doesn't take you off a loved one's pedestal. It allows them to climb up with you.
Man, I love that. You know, I here's the thing about vulnerability. I think a lot of people, I'm going to say men, because that's my frame of reference, but you and I, in fact, we should count one time, but I think we probably, what do you think male to female ratio is? Do you think it's 60-40?
You mean that
women, 60-40 men, 60 women, 40?
Something like that, yeah.
It's that a lot of people feel like vulnerability, particularly in the workplace, is a sign of weakness. Right? And really now, obviously, I'm not going to walk into a meeting, Dave, and just get blubbering vulnerable. There are times where discernment is really key here, but vulnerability actually takes courage. And I've realized this after years of, you know, working on getting healthier, is that there's always this kabuki dance in relationships. Who's going to get vulnerable first? Right. And then once somebody gets vulnerable, the other person feels like, okay, thank goodness they've given me permission, you know, to be a little bit vulnerable. Right. And so I like that you're not being removed from the pedestal. Right.
So often I think it drops us down in people's eyes, but it doesn't. We stay where we are, but it allows people to climb up with you, you know, so that you're together.
I love that.
And we did have a podcast, episode 48, I believe. We had a question about how much of my fears and our issues do I share with my team, how vulnerable should I be? So we talked about that
That's
quite a
good.
bit, but it's definitely worth repeating because somebody may not have listened to 48 and
right.
won't listen to 48.
Yeah. Yeah. So go back and listen to episode number 48. This is episode number 61. Is that right?
I think so.
For Hire My VA? Yeah. So yeah, it was a little while ago, but go back and listen to that. That's a great aha, Dave. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for the reminder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get
What's
into
our question for the week?
You ready for our question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. What opportunities are we investing in and pursuing currently? Now, this is kind of like, off topic, nothing really to do with team building, but we thought we'd just go ahead and answer it anyway.
Off of Hire My VA, you mean, right?
Yeah.
So this is a little bit different than what we've done in the past, where people, if this is the first podcast you've listened to for us, generally people write in and ask specific questions about how do I build my team? How do I bill for my rates? What services do I offer? Those types of things. So this is a lot different. So they're asking us, what opportunities are we working on right now?
Sure.
Read it for me one more time.
Yeah. What opportunities are we actually going to be pursuing, at this point? Like, what are we working on now? What are we going to be, working on not only now, but what do we see coming in the future that we're prepared for?
Well, a couple of things kind of come to mind in both the Victory Masterclass program that we run, as well as the Hire My VA. One of the things that I'm kind of excited about is that we are now have this joint community. Whereas if you are a graduate of the Hire My VA program, the Victory Masterclass program, and if you're in the continuation program of Hire My VA, we got one community so that we can share ideas with each other. Because no matter what programs that you and I are working on, Dave, or if it's a mastermind we're running or a coaching program we're running, really what we're trying to do is help people that are in the entrepreneurial and leadership space find more freedom in their life. And so there's some cross-pollination that's going on there. So that's one of the things that we're working on.
And Larry, to be honest on that, I think there's a large percentage of the questions that people end up asking are around, well, when do I expand, and how do I expand with my team, and how do I morph roles with people?
You mean in the Hire My VA program?
Yeah, and Hire My VA.
Yeah, and those are more just general business things, and we address that a lot in the Victory program, right? And again, and if we're trying to get people more freedom, we are not going to hide things from you. If you got a question and we know the answer, we're going to share the answer with you. We're not going to say, oh, it's not germane. So yeah, good. Yep. Thank you, Dave. That's good. And what else are we working on? We got a lot we're working on.
Yeah. And one of the other things that we're pursuing right now is, our philosophy for Hire My VA has been more of we want to, kind of like some people will say, I want to, how do I word this? It's kind of like, you give a person a fish, you feed him for the day, right? When you feed him the fish, you feed him for a lifetime, right? So that's why we don't provide VAs for people. What we do is we teach you how to get and manage and work with VAs, because when you're successful with one, you're going to want more and more and more, right? So we want to help you to fish for VAs, to work with them on your own, and not just like give them to you. And so that you'd always have to come back to us and all that kind of stuff, and over and over and over. But what we're finding, though, is that there's a lot of people coming to us that just like, I just need to get somebody to get me over the hump temporarily. How do I do that, right?
Yeah.
All right. And so we're pursuing some opportunities in that space.
Well, the reason is that our program is different than any other VA program I think that's out there, is that we have it broken into the 3 different phases. One is the prepare phase, like get ready for this. One is the actual hiring phase. And the third one, they're all very important, but the third one, if we don't get this part down, the thrive phase, you're going to have a constant turnover of VAs. And so that is the problem, whether people are teaching you how to hire a VA or they're actually hiring the VA for you. If you're not prepared and you know how to communicate what is expected of them, and you don't have your core values defined and all those kind of things, so that you're attracting the right VA. And if you don't have the thrive portion on, you're just going to have turnover, and it's going to be absolutely frustrating. You're going to say, oh, these VAs, they're knuckleheads, or it's not worth it, or
And that's,
whatever it
people
is,
come to
right?
us all the time like that, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so this is why we have this. So I think the combination, as you said, there are people who come to us and say, can't you just hire them for me? Right. Or can't you find that person for me? So we are working on that. And that's pretty exciting, because I think the combination will be fire. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah. Even more life changing,
Yeah.
and, Larry, you talk a lot about don't just pursue success, but really pursue significance.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And this is a way that we can really, really, really ramp up the significance of how we're affecting, not just our community, but, the world and other countries as well.
Yeah.
And in particular, you think about, we're coming out of the pandemic, at least in the United States, but there are so many businesses that are like, we can't go back to totally in person. They're going to go to a hybrid model. There's virtual working. There's virtualness going to be happening forever.
For sure.
Save costs, but also like being able to find talent, especially I was just listening to a podcast where they were interviewing a guy who runs a think tank in Washington, D.C. One of the things that they have found is that Washington, D.C. is one of the most expensive areas to live in. Right. And they're limited in what talent that they can find, right? Yeah. But going remotely, they can find talent. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of talented people who don't want to live in the Beltway or commute, from Virginia into DC, right? And same thing all over the flipping world, right? So the VA element, the working remote, is here to stay. I'm sure that when we're through this on the hotel company, on this hotel company, I'm sure our home office is going to be a split, between some people are going to be working remotely, some people are going to be working in the office, some people are going to they can split it up. So, I think you're right. The work, even if many people aren't going to want to go back.
Yeah.
Because we've proven that you don't have to. A lot of things like programmers and the stuff that you do with your with SEO and e-commerce and those kind of things, you don't need to have somebody working in your office.
Nope. No.
Right?
Yeah. There's always advantages of being physically together and sharing ideas in a physical way. And you can't always get over that, but you can make up for some of that by the advantages, as everybody knows, of working from, home, at least, like you said, hybrid. I do like the hybrid approach a lot. And I think that's really good. Yeah. But even with one of the things that I would love to do, an opportunity I would love to pursue in the future, is actually, we have a couple of folks on our team that are in the Philippines. And what I'd love to do is actually go there, meet them in person, because that will take your relationship to
well, they particularly level, some of these VAs, how many years have you been working with, like Daphne, for instance?
5+, man.
Yeah. We see her all the time on camera, but
it's not as good. Just seeing her once. Did I ever tell you about
that's a must do.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I was working with folks in India, when I was in the corporate world, and how things changed once we got together, right?
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable. If you just go visit once, in person once, and so just one time will take your relationship to a new level.
Yeah, agreed.
So that would be a great opportunity that we'd love to pursue.
Well, what do you have going on with pro website creators?
Yeah, one of the things that we are actually doing is we've been rolling out an SEO service that we want to we're rolling out an SEO service because one of the things that we realize, it's great to have, your website, and it's a minimum, right? It's the essential part. It should be like the hub of your marketing effort. It's, it's where people come to, you own it. Facebook can't take it away or whatever. but you've got to be able to attract people, right? And there's certain things that are important that you do to attract people that are actually searching for your offering and what you have to sell, right? And so you need to do some kind of search engine optimization and do things on a regular basis. So we are doing that right now and pursuing that because we want to make a big difference for our clients in that arena. And plus, you've seen the move to e-commerce. We've already been into e-commerce, and there's just so many cool things about e-commerce from a psychological perspective, different things that you can do that will influence buyers, not in a bad way, but in a good way, right? In a good way. And making them aware of products that, and opportunities that otherwise they may pass over.
That's good.
So how about you on the hotel side?
Well, I've got a couple of things going on. I'll mention the hotel side here in a second. On the trainer and speaker side, I'm starting to ramp up doing more one-on-one mentoring with folks. That's always fun to do.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see more inquiries into in-person speaking events, which we haven't really seen in a year. I've done several virtual keynote presentations, have done lots of podcasts and, hey, can you come speak to our mastermind group and that kind of thing virtually, doing that every couple of weeks, so that's been very busy. But I am so looking forward to getting out there and doing my first live keynote again. The last one I did, you were there for, Dave, was in March of last year.
March 2020.
In Dallas? I think it was Dallas.
That was in Dallas. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So I'm looking forward to that happening again. On the hotel side, our industry's been decimated, during the past year. So Derek, our VP of business development, and I have been scrambling to try to pivot our company a little bit. And then it turns out it's going to be pivoting a lot. And it feels like, and it's felt like this for months, that we're right on the cusp, like the tipping point is right there for some good, big things to happen. And I'm excited that I have maintained a level of optimism and tenacity there, because a year ago, at least if you talk to everybody around me, what was going on, and some people are saying, hey, throw in the towel. Your industry's not going to make it. People aren't going to be going to hotels again. This could go on forever. And there were a lot of naysayers out there, right? And there were times it's like, I don't know how I'm going to pay, this next payroll. There's been times like that, right? But we have persevered. We've done some really smart things. A year later, we're doing well. It looks like we've got some runway in front of us. So it's exciting. I'm actually very, at the time of this recording, I haven't been this optimistic in a long, long time. So I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah. God's a pretty awesome God, and I've got some great friends around me, and I've learned that I just have to trust. I've got to trust. That's a hard thing for a lot of people, Dave.
Yeah. We push and we push and we push. At some point, it's like, we do have to trust.
Well, it doesn't mean that we just sit back and watch
and wait for it to come.
Are soap operas even still around? Like, I can't just sit around. I just can't watch Jerry Springer. I don't know if Jerry Springer is still around. Judge Judy, whatever the thing is people watch during the day on TV. I can't do that, right? I mean, I still have to work.
Right.
But I have to trust that God, the universe, Gaia, is conspiring for greatness for me. And it's taught me patience as well. You and I get together every Monday with some friends of ours, or every Wednesday with some friends of ours. And we were talking about patience the last time we were together. And it's one of those things, patience is like a muscle, right? And when you're working towards your dream, oftentimes we're not giving up on the dream, but we've given up on the patience. I don't want to grow my patience muscle anymore, right? So that's what's going on. A lot's going on between the two of us, my friend.
Oh yeah, and I didn't even talk about some of the changes happening in the Orange County jails. And
yeah, tell me about that. People, this is inspiring. I think people should hear this, Dave.
well, so the Orange County where we live, and just like many other jails or prisons, they're jails here, but they've been locked down to outside people coming in to do any kind of services, educational or anything like that. And and right now, over the last few months, I'm on the board of Gleaners, which is the Protestant organization that manages all the Protestant services for the inmates in Orange County jails.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is a little bit exciting for us is this everything being closed down has given us kind of an opportunity as other businesses will have the opportunity like yours to almost do a little bit of a reset.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at doing some more, everything has been so pen and paper for a long time. We're looking at doing things a little bit more electronically, upgrading how we do with a database, how we're doing things instead of having it in an old format on somebody's computer, really making it, more up to date to be able to serve the different volunteers and chaplains and the inmates.
Well, be able
make it
to,
a little more streamlined and
yeah.
and to be able to do the right kind of reports to really maximize our effectiveness. Yeah.
And this is kind of right in your wheelhouse of helping as well. You got to be able to offer a lot of value, not just to the inmates, which I know you get a big charge out of that, but to the fellow board members so that everybody's more productive.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good. That's exciting.
So I think part of the key is, Larry, is that, no matter, I think, what's going on in your life, whatever junk you're going through, whatever's happening in the economy, whatever's happening in your industry, there are opportunities to serve, to help. There's new things that are going to be coming. Just stay positive, work hard, and don't give up, right?
Well, yeah, one of the lessons that I've learned through the ups and downs, trials and tribulations in my life is that when you don't know what to do, when it feels like the world is just caving in around you, when you feel like you are at the end of your rope, hanging on by your fingernails, whatever the analogy is, however it is that you are feeling, and you feel like you're bringing no value to anybody and you're worth more dead than alive, been there on all of those, right? The best thing you can do is serve others.
Yes.
Serve somebody else. Get out of your own head and serve someone else. And this is what I talk about. Stop chasing success, but lead a life of significance. When I think of that, I think about you. I mean, you are constantly playing a significant role in the lives of your family members, of your church, and your community. And you doing this jailhouse ministry, I think, is one of the most powerful things that you are doing. That's a life of significance, right? And you're not just serving these inmates, but now that you're on the board, that's another layer of significance. So my friends, if you're listening to this, I don't know, Mother Teresa's been given credit for this, but I've heard it for years. And I don't know, we could Google it right now, I suppose. But the saying is this: there is no higher calling than serving others.
That's true.
Right. And I do believe that to be true. There's no higher calling than serving others. And if you can make your business a mission where you are serving other people at the same time, that's the closest thing to nirvana that I can think of. It always breaks my heart when people, because some people have to do this. They've got their work life where they earn money, and then they've got their, invocation, the place where they get their calling somewhere else. Wouldn't it be great if it was the same thing? Right. So.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Yeah. But no matter where you are, you can constantly serve others. And if you're listening to this and you're like, oh man, I want to serve somebody, you can at least go and you are connected to some community somewhere, right? You can go in and offer your services somehow, or just do a comment on somebody's question, help answer it, or just give somebody a call on the phone and say, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, that's a good reminder. If you are watching this video or you're listening to this through one of the streaming podcast services that we're on, in the comment section, tell us, what are you working on? right now? What opportunities are you working on and investing in right now? Number one. And number two, what are you doing to serve other folks? Where are you making an impact? What significant thing are you committed to right now? I'd love to hear that, but we'd love to get you a thumbs up from you if you thought this was worthwhile. If you want to see more podcasts like this versus, hey, how do I fire somebody who's not performing, and if you don't like this format, give us a thumbs down. We do these so that we learn as well. We want these podcasts to serve you, not just us. Believe me, Dave loves to hear me talk, but not that much. If he can get away without us doing this, we'd love to do that. But if you feel like you're getting something out of it, let us know.
Yeah, and normally we sign off with, go to HireMyVA.com. And you can do that, but let's sign off different, Larry. Give us a comment, like you said, a thumbs up. Tell us what you're working on, what you're doing that's significant, what your passions are. Just talk and think about how you can serve others today.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to sign off partially the way I normally do, because I think this is so powerful, because I remind myself of this every day. Go do something significant today. And then there's this. I just love when I think about my creator, it's my Abba Father. I just remind myself of this. God bless you. God keep you. God hold you. All right, my friends, go get them.
All right. Bye, guys. See you next time.